Yes, good evening, everyone. This is LordSeanConnery, futures trader and Jedi Master, trained by Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm just fucking with you guys. This is LordSeanConnery. I am a futures trader, and this is one of many videos that I'm going to be making on the futures trading that I do. The two markets that I trade currently are the crude oil markets, the ticker is CL, and the S&P futures with ticker ES. So let's go ahead and get the fuck down to it, because this is like the 40th take, and I'm a perfectionist, so I'm just gonna let things ride. And if I fuck up, I fuck up. And hey, maybe this sounds good. Maybe it's good, maybe it's shit, you know? All right, first one is crude oil. So I'm gonna go ahead and blow up my screen here. This is the crude oil session. I like to look at the full session. Here, this is marked in light gray. This is the pre-market. And then the dark gray is basically the RTH session, which goes from 8 o'clock Central to 1:30. And that is the time that I am mainly operative. So, what do we have for crude oil? Crude oil had kind of an open drive. From the open and the low were within one tick of each other. Was off to the races. Moved from this blue zone. I'm going to talk about these zones in a little bit. Pretty decent price action here. Pulled back to the mid VWAP. This is the RTH mid, or volume weighted average price. This is known as the pocket. Created the IB high, broke it, and went up to test the previous high of day in the RTH, which was at 63.56. That test came upon some news that hit the feed. So here there were two trades that set up in the RTH. Normally I do a weekly trade in crude. I'm not going to discuss that until the end of the week, but I can discuss the day trades on crude that came about. So here within the IB range, or this IB, my God, I'm fumbling here, but fuck it. We're just going to go with it. We had a break of the IB to the upside, and the testing of this area, we came short of this one area within the 63.78 zone. We had this news kind of blast up, and there was a lot of volume that kind of showed up on Volume Scope, as well as my trading platform called Bookmap. You could definitely see a lot of buyers come on in. Could have been some pretty aggressive short covering as well. The very first trade setup was the pullback to this inflection one. This is resistance one. This is also the classic bread and butter pullback to the IB high and then look for an extension even higher. That was the first trade that set up. We had a pullback with a particular response and another higher low pullback here. There was an entry here that I like to take for maybe a few ticks below the low. The low at this point was 63.38. The entry that I was able to take was 63.45, risk 63.35. So 10 ticks of risk, and my goal was to get risk off. Generally, I can take half of my trade off at 1 to 2R. Sometimes I could get off a little more, sometimes I could get off a little less, it just really depends. And my aspirations were to take that intraday trade to the target of 63.78, or somewhere within this region, before I saw some fishy, funny business that lets me know, okay, the trade is done. Here, unfortunately, we got this lower high. And so the psychology behind, buyers down here, if they see this lower high, it kind of lets them know, oh, fuck. All right, well, if I bought here and I didn't achieve a higher high against 63.67, I might have to run for the fucking hills. That's exactly what happened here. So I was able to go ahead and get a risk off scale, but this thing fell back below. If you follow time framing in the market profile, every 30-minute period marks a particular bracket. When it came into breakdown here, the time framing went from up to neutral. So there was no sense of being super aggressive to try to get to the upside again. Anyways, the market pulled in, kind of broke through these RTH levels, the mid and the VWAP, pulled into the full session mid and VWAP. That's the full session from the start which is 5 p.m. Eastern to 4 p.m. 5 p.m. Central to 4 p.m. Central the very next day. There was a pullback to this area called the over-under, which did provide some sort of price action entry here, and that was able to come in and go from zone to zone, from this level here to this level here. Anyways, that was it for CL. The weekly trade that I have, again, I cannot discuss the levels because these levels are from a service that I use, actually a great service. Since I'm talking about this service, I'm going to go ahead and bring it on up. The gentlemen at Infinitus Capital. These are the quants that are located in the beautiful Toronto, Canada area. Their service is basically like a really expensive cup of coffee a day. So instead of going to Starbucks and getting all that bullshit that you want to put in your system, why not go ahead and spend that money and subscribe to these guys? I've been a subscriber since 2021. I am completely happy with their service. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and make a plug with them. They're not paying me. I'm not by any means getting some sort of kickback or anything like that. I'm praising these guys. I absolutely love them. They cover, I think, more than 8 markets. Let's see if I can bring up one of their sheets on their computer. So they cover oil, the NQ, which is the crazy NASDAQ, the ES. They cover the Dow, YM. They cover the Russell 2000, RTY. They cover the bonds, ZN. They also cover gold and Bitcoin. And man, these guys are phenomenal. So anyways, the zones that I actually have on up right here are from a daily email. About 15 minutes before the open, the oil numbers come out, and again, like they pump out numbers 10 to 15 minutes before certain markets come out, whether it's gold or the ES, the NQ, the YM. But oil has always been a favorite because they absolutely fucking dominate the oil market in terms of how accurate they are. They are accurate to within ticks of the turn of oil from the high to the low. It's absolutely insane. So yeah, I've been a subscriber since 2021, and I'm very happy with them. And basically, these videos are to showcase some of the trading that I do, which I do a lot of volume profiling. I do the auction market theory. I do a lot of homework on the markets. I try to figure out where the markets are likely going to go, what are they doing, how good of a job they're doing, all that other good stuff. The 4 big questions, if anybody recognizes those. But I also utilize these quant-derived numbers because they're so fucking powerful. And why not? I mean, why not pay, the price of a cup of coffee to have an edge? Not only an edge to find turning points in the market, but also to play toward targets that are, a little further out than what you normally think. So yeah, why the fuck not? Anyways, the end of the day on CL, I kind of forgot what I was talking about, but there is a weekly trade that I'm in, and I'm not going to go ahead and be able to talk about that till the end of the week, because I don't want to reveal where their price levels are, where I may have executed, what targets I'm shooting for. I will say that I was long pretty early into the Sunday session. So if you could put 2 and 2 together, I have a long down here in the 6260s area. Okay, enough of that. It's going to go to the ES, the S&P 500. All right. Now, these levels as well are their quant levels. About 5 minutes before the open, they release numbers for the S&P. They have an over-under. They have inflections known as 1, 2, 3, could go all the way down to 5, as well as upper inflections. These inflections may be turning points of the market. They can also be targets to play for if you make a read on the market that could be correct. In this case, the S&P actually had a gap up. So what a gap up is price opened above the high of yesterday. Yesterday's RTH high was 66.62.75. So when you open in a gap, you either are responsive and you fill the gap, or you attempt to fill the gap, but then you move away. And if you know that type of setup, you can take particular trades that can be very lucrative. In this case, we had the very swishy open. We came in, tested against the open again, but we had this really nice response upward. So having this type of action at this inflection kind of tells me, all right, if we're moving on higher, and there are no other inflections up here, a breakout of the market to new all-time highs. The only thing they can really put are Fibonacci extensions or measured moves, that kind of fun stuff. So anyways, the very first entry that I took for the S&P was this pullback into this inflection area, along with this price action behavior at the RTH mid VWAP. The low of the point of that day was 66.70 and a quarter. We had this little move up. I put a bid in at 71.25, and I like to risk the low of day, so that's a single point of risk. Quickly, I was able to get 2 points risk off. I was able to go ahead and scale ahead of the high at 77.75, and there is a 90-something% chance that either the IB high or the IB low breaks in the RTH session. So when that formed, there was a break. That was another scale. Later on, the gentleman at Infinitus Capital, about an hour after the session opens, they put out this ES mid-morning update, and they basically provide the extensions of where the market may go relative to where the IB high and the IB low are set. And these extensions have really good probabilities. If anybody likes to do programming and do stats and just do studies on the market, there are certain extensions that have an 83% probability of hitting. So that's a 5 out of 6. 5 out of 6 possibilities that, hey, I'm going to hit above the IB high to a certain level or below the IB low to a certain level. If you can, get a trade, take some risk off, put some money in your pocket, and let a runner go, that can do pretty well. Unfortunately, that didn't necessarily hit. I think today's IB extension, let me go ahead and bring this up. Let's see. Sorry about that. For future videos, I'm going to have much more organization, I guess you could say, and things will be fluid. This is my first time. So the first extension was at 66.84 and a quarter. Unfortunately, this fucker petered out at 66.81 and a quarter, 3 points away. Like, you motherfucker, you couldn't even get up there. That's fine, whatever. What are you going to do, huh? We break the IB high. That's a stat. We took the overnight high pretty quickly in the session. That was just a joke. That's a really nice statistic to play to. We had pullback to the mid VWAP. Generally, when price action is moving higher and you get these pullbacks, you want to see maybe if there's an entry point so you could take this higher. Unfortunately, it didn't. It made a lower high against the IB high, pulled in, shifted the market to neutral. There is approximately a 70% chance that the market does not go to neutral. That's what happened here. Neutral is when both the IB high and the IB low break. So there were some programs here or buyers that wanted to catch a fucking falling knife and see if they could save the market from breaking the IB low, which initially they did, but unfortunately it also created something called a poor low. This is a 1 tick higher low versus the low that was set in. Not a strong structure in the market, and probably likely to be retested and broken, or something known as corrected. That's exactly what happened. Price action here followed again a lower high and just kind of fucked around here. Eventually broke the IB low, but instead of breaking it and losing its shit, it didn't even come in and fill the RTH gap. It was half a tick, no, not half a tick, 2 ticks away, 50 cents. Couldn't even do it, and then came right back in, went right back to the highs, and then closed in the middle. So all in all, pretty decent trade here. If you could go ahead and get a trade with 1 or 2 points of risk and make at least 2 to 3 times that, that's good. And especially if you have a trade setup that, I don't know, might have some stats behind it. Myself, I'm a physicist. I'm a math nerd. I like to do stats both on paper. If there's complex computer programming, I really don't want to do it. I'm 45. I know I could probably bust that shit out, but no, I'll send it to somebody who could do it easily, and they could just go ahead and juggle the numbers and get back to me, say, "Oh, hi, Lord Sean Connery. According to my calculations, this has a 97% chance of winning." Yeah. Oh, lovely. Cool. All right. So with that said, this is the end of the video. I hope everyone enjoyed it. So some thoughts that I want to talk about moving forward. So pretty much after the market close, before the next session open, I'm going to go ahead and be making these post-market videos about, hey, these are the levels that came on up. These are the trades I took. This is how I did. I'm probably going to be posting a snapshot of my Rhythmic account minus my account number, so you guys can't like fucking steal all my money, and kind of show my real trades, where my trade entries are, where my scales are, where I got completely fucked and mowed over. That's fine. I want to share everything. I want to be completely transparent. I don't want to be like one of those douchebags on YouTube where, they always have those thumbnails with the big silly face. Oh, look, I made 6,000 today in the market. And then you inspect your screen and they're really like, paper trading on like a Thinkorswim account. It's fucking bullshit. I don't want to do that. So I'll probably do that down the road. I'm a pretty private person, so it's going to take a lot out of me to kind of share that information, but fuck it, why not? Maybe down the road on every Sunday, I could talk about a bigger picture view of the market along with a friend of mine. His name is Mohammed. He's also a trader that I have worked with, an excellent guy. Yeah. And maybe talk about some other fun stuff. I'm shit. Like, what's fun about the market other than, putting in trades and hoping to God that you don't fucking get, clawed or just get your position taken out. Try to keep it entertaining. I'm going to use some cuss words, hopefully somebody doesn't get offended, has a, thin fucking skin. If that's you probably don't want to watch my channel. A lot of humor, and I don't know. I can't think of anything else to say except I hope you enjoy the video, and there's more to come. So that is Lord Sean Connery signing off. Maybe one thing that I might do is every single end of the video, I might do a random Sean Connery quote. So I'll just throw something out from The Rock. The Rock, when... let's see, I think it's Nicolas Cage where he said, I'll do my best. And then Sean Connery says, "Your best. Losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen." And then, Nicolas Cage says that his wife was the prom queen. That's fucking awesome. So, great movie. Yeah. Anyways, Lord Sean Connery signing off. You guys have a great evening.